Yeah. Okay. So when I first came to Hawaii, I was 18, and like a week after that, or 2 weeks after that, I had that big kind of life altering encounter moment where we were in that prayer meeting, and I was standing at the back of the room, and the way the meeting was, so we were in this volunteer Christian program, and this particular meeting was about a lot of inner healing stuff. So the way that meeting had been set up, they had all the girls at the front of the room, and we had been dealing with a lot of inner healing wounds and stuff to do with our dads and our moms. And at this time was this moment of women and all these girls in the volunteer program who I just started becoming friends with. They were all at the front of the room, and they were dealing with a lot of wounds, I'd probably say is the best word, wounds from broken relationships and ways that they had been treated poorly by their dads or their uncles or their, men in their life and stuff like that. And so I'm 18, I'm at the back of the room, and they had all the guys at the back to just pray over what's going on and stuff. So I'm standing back there, and I was just feeling so like angry because I was hearing all these girls like praying and crying and like weeping and all this stuff, and standing at the back of the room. And I was so just disturbed at the darkness that was represented there, and just the darkness in the world, really, and especially the darkness around how men mistreat women and that kind of stuff. And so I was praying, and I was so like, I just started to get like really angry, and I was like shaking. And anyway, to make a long story short, it became a really life altering encounter, because what happened was I was praying, and I felt like as I was praying, I felt like I thought of the words, or I felt like I heard the words. So I had been praying, God, would you rise me up as a difference maker in the world, and as someone who would bring purity to the world, and as someone who would make a difference in the area of how men mistreat women and all this stuff. And would you rise me up? Would you rise me up? And as I was saying that, I felt like I heard the words, then rise up. And I had my head down, my eyes are closed, kept my eyes closed, but I like looked up, and in my mind's eye, I just saw this like picture of a big knight like standing in front of me. So I knew exactly what was happening. Like I felt like I was being almost like symbolically in my vision or in my imagination, whatever you want to call it, knighted to fight on behalf of these women who who are at the front of the room crying, and I'm so just touched by what's going on. So as I'm looking at this knight, I'm like, okay, so I kneel down on the ground, and I kind of in my mind's eye see this knight knight me with like a big sword, and I felt like something around the idea of I'm being knighted to make a difference in this area in the world. Part of that being to be like an example of what it means to be a man and to treat a woman properly, and then part of that being to look after and to be like the protector and the sheepdog of women who had been abused or whatever. Anyway, but it was very kind of foggy and fuzzy, but it was crazy, and it was so real to me in that moment. So after that prayer meeting, I went to the side of the room, and I was just sitting there kind of like shaken from what had happened, and wondering like, okay, was this a real thing? Did I imagine this? What's going on? And still feeling so touched and so kind of driven on the inside by this experience. And so as I'm on the side of the room, I'm going, holy crap, what just happened? Is this real? God, if this is like you trying to communicate with me, you have to like, I would love for some sort of like confirmation, or you have to like confirm to me that this is something, because I knew that it felt so real, but I knew that it had the potential to be something to really direct the direction of my life. And because 18, I'd been, just finished high school, didn't have a great direction, spent a while working just in, blue collar jobs. And I didn't want that. I wanted to live for something larger or something. Right. So anyway, so we finish our break and they call the men to the front and they say, all of you men, I want you to line up. And then around the corner comes the guy leading the meeting, Tom. And Tom comes around the corner with this giant sword. And he's like, I want you guys all to kneel because I'm going to knight you all. And I'm going to call all of you men to be the difference makers in the world. And basically everything that I had imagined was the meaning of my knighthood. And so I like grabbed the guy next to me, Yamin, this guy that we were in school with. I'm like, Yamin, I just met him, Yamin, this vision I just had, blah, blah, right? And so I was like, okay, this is a confirmation enough for me. I feel like this is a direction that the Lord is giving me for where to spend my life.